Many unbelievers think the story of the Great Flood and Noah's Ark is just a religious myth. But what if ancient civilizations left clues to what really happened? Recently, I shared with you how most ancient cultures in the world have flood stories. Starting with the ancient Sumerians and the Akkadians in ancient Mesopotamia. In the Babylonian culture, we also have the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Montagnais, now known as the Innu people of eastern Canada. In Fiji, the serpent deity Ndenge brought the flood. Another flood story exists in Tanzania, East Africa, from the Rukwa people. From Nebraska, North America, the flood story was from the Pawnee people. The Aztecs in Mexico. The Mayans in Guatemala, Central America. There's also a flood story in Hawaii, in Central Pacific. Central Asian Altai traditions. The Arawaks, also known as the Lokono people in Guyana, Northern South America. The Maasai people in Kenya and Northern Tanzania, East Africa. The Norse in Scandinavia. The Greeks from Southern Europe. The Miao people in Southern China. The Wunambal in Western Australia. It's everywhere. All our ancestors from all cultures are talking about it. You get the point. Today, I want to share with you something amazing, something fascinating from the ancient world. A very old map. But this is just not any map on Kunai tablet form here with some Kunai writing as well. It is the oldest map in the whole world. But that is not just the most interesting part. What is more fascinating to me is what is on it. Now, of course, it's not the real thing. This is just a copy. And according to scholars studying this ancient tablet, it may actually point to the place where the Ark came to rest. Yes, now I need to buckle up because how they discovered this step by step is going to blow your socks off. Or I hope so, because it did mine. This is fascinating stuff. And so the first thing that is amazing is that the place they discovered this, they discovered it in ancient Mesopotamia. That is today the place that we know as Iraq. And the same place that the Bible describes the first civilizations lived after the flood. So this is where Noah and his children, their descendants, settled upon and started this whole new world. This is where it comes from. Genesis 11 verse 2 says, "As people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there." And then Genesis 10 verse 10 connects this region with Babel, Erech, and Akkad. So the Bible itself places these first post-flood civilizations in Mesopotamia, the exact regions where the earliest flood stories come from. Now, let's take a closer look at the oldest map of the world and decipher it. The original is now in the British Museum, and this small clay tablet is known as the Babylonian Map of the world. It dates to around the 6th century BC, and it was studied in detail by Assyriologist Irving Finkel. Now, just a very quick note, and also, of course, give credit where credit is due. Most of what I know about this map comes from Dr. Finkel, so thank you. Now, let's take a closer look, and let me describe to you what's going on here. The tablet is showing us a circular world surrounded by a great body of water called the Bitter River. Now, inside that circle, we see the land of Mesopotamia, the world they lived in, with the Euphrates River running through the middle from north to south. You'd remember that in this land you have the Euphrates River, you also have the Tigris River. We also bring this world to life in our new book called Lightborn. I'll share this with you a little bit later on, where we share with people what this world was really like. But these two rivers are two of the 4 rivers that came from the Garden of Eden. And they're still here today. So this Euphrates River, it runs through the middle from north to south. And then this long oblong, you'll see here on the top, it's stretching over the river. This is the ancient city of Babylon. And then Dr. Finkel also explains that there are these round circles on the sides, and they have cuneiform writing on them, making it clear that these are some of the cities or tribes in the land. Names like Haban, Assyria, Der, and Susa. Actually, you might remember this place, Susa. It's also where the whole story of Esther in the Bible plays off. Also, Daniel received this prophecy about Elam here. Now let's go back to the map. At the bottom, the cuneiform writing tells us there is a swamp area and a channel left of that. And all the way to the top, there's a mountain. So that is what's going on inside this body of water. But what is most interesting is not what's inside of this land, but beyond it. We can see there are triangles. Some were broken off, and we can see the damage that it got, but it seems to have gone all around the land, all these triangles. So what are they? A lot of people give different suggestions for these triangles. Dr. Finkel says that they are mountains. So the idea is that if you travel and you cross the waters and you see on the horizon these triangles, far in the distance, they're mountains from the distant lands. And Dr. Finkel said, and I quote, "They are, for the Babylonians, places full of magic and full of mystery." Now, for many years, they didn't actually have this full, complete cuneiform tablet as it is here today. You see this small piece here? It was missing. So they couldn't decipher it. They couldn't understand what it is. And if you turn it on its back, you see all this cuneiform writing here. And these cuneiform writing describes certain things here on the front. So it tells you about these places, but they weren't sure in what order they were because some of the places were missing. They didn't understand what is number one, what is number two. They had no idea. But then something amazing happened. I think it was God, because this piece, it was among hundreds, thousands actually in their words, other small pieces that they were just sorting out, didn't know what it was. And then one of the volunteers, a woman, found it and just thought maybe it's important. And then later they discovered it's part of this ancient, the oldest map in the world. And then when the fragment was placed against the map, it fit perfectly. And the writing on that piece revealed something amazing. Now, because they found the missing piece, they understood with the descriptions here on the back that here in the front, it doesn't go clockwise, the descriptions of these triangles, these mountains, but anti-clockwise. So what did it reveal? It described a journey, almost like a treasure hunt of how far they need to go and where they need to go to find something special. And for me, it is a treasure, for many other people as well. It says you must travel 7 leagues across the water before reaching the land beyond the known world. In other words, it just basically says you need to cross this body of water that is around their world. And when you reach the other side, the text says you arrive at a mountain region. And the tablet describes something enormous that you can still see if you go there. You can find it. It's almost like if I would talk to someone from thousands of years ago and we discuss a map and he's like, oh yeah, this place, this huge thing, and I'm going to tell you in a few seconds what it is. But it's like they're saying, yeah, it's still there. You go here, 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 and there in front of that mountain, you'll see it. It's almost like one of those big things like the 7 wonders of the world. In their time, something amazing to the people of this time. And what was it? It speaks about a massive structure, and the text says its wooden beams were as thick as a parsiktu vessel. Now, this is interesting, especially this word, parsiktu. Why? Because scholars who study the ancient Mesopotamian world, their culture, their ears, I think Dr. Finkel also did, like their ears go like, what? Chick, chick. Because this was very unique. It was only mentioned once in all the other ancient Mesopotamia texts. Where? In a flood tablet describing the construction of the ark in the Mesopotamian flood tradition, preserved in the Epic of Gilgamesh and related texts. In that story, the person who survived the flood is called Utnapishtim. He built a great ark so that he can survive this great flood. Now, we know that this is just Noah in the Bible. Because remember, in the ancient world, different languages, yes, but they used those different languages to describe people. Their names had meanings. For example, Noah in the ancient Hebrew language, it means rest or comfort. Utnapishtim in Babylonian means he found life or he obtained life. It makes sense why they would call Noah by this name. People, as time went on, the next generations, they would look at Noah as someone who is very interesting and has life, who obtained life, because he was 600 years old when the flood happened, and then he lived to be how long? The Bible says 950. So he would be a very old person in that time where people's lifespans were shortened. The old Sumerian version of the flood calls Noah Zuasudra, which means life of long days, or he of long life. So we know that this is Noah. And when we look at the Babylonian map describing this huge structure here at this mountain, it says the wooden beams were as thick as Parsiktu vessel. And that description is only found in one other ancient text known as the Babylonian Ark tablet. On this tablet, it describes the construction of the ark in the Mesopotamian flood story. The Ark tablet describes the ark as a large, round, coracle-style boat, which is different from the rectangular ark described in the book of Genesis. So the memory of a person that lived a long life and that survived the great flood with a big vessel was contained. As we continue throughout history, we see that there are many stories about Noah and the ark, giving him different names, different family members. The number sometimes changed. The style of the boat also changed. Sometimes it was even a canoe. But when we read the Bible, we see that the facts is just so much more clear. Now, in this version of the flood story, the map seems to describe, according to the words of Dr. Finkel, he says, the map describes this journey to this mountain, and there, silhouetted against the sky, the text suggests you could see the wooden ribs of a gigantic ancient vessel, the ark. In other words, the text suggests that the ancient Babylonians, when you go to that mountain, you can still see the remains of the ark. And now this is where it becomes even more interesting, and I hope you're having so much fun with this as I had to research it and to learn about this. The map also reveals the region known as Urartu. Are you getting it? Because we read in Genesis 8 verse 4 that it says, and on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The name Ararat in the Bible is actually the Hebrew name of the ancient kingdom of Urartu. Fascinating, isn't it? So when the book of Genesis says that the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, it meant the mountainous regions of this kingdom. So both traditions place the resting place of the ark in the same mountainous region north of Mesopotamia. Actually, even until today, there is a site near Mount Ararat called the Durapinar Formation. And that has a boat-shaped outline roughly the same length as the ark described in Genesis. Some researchers believe it could represent the remains or imprint of a large ancient vessel. The ark. How long was the ark? When we read the Bible, we read in Genesis 6 verse 15, it was 300 cubits in length and 50 cubits in breadth, and the height was 30 cubits. This is huge. A lot of people do not understand how big this is. I went to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky, and they built it exactly according to these measurements. And man, it is huge. If you stand next to it, I mean, it is gigantic. And so you got to go there if you can, because they prove to you inside and out how it could have been possible to survive the flood in the ark with all those animals. There's so much of this ancient world that a lot of people do not understand, and it's important because it also connects to the end times. I'm writing a novel with my brother Harnu called Lightborn, and if you want to understand how all these things connect, get this book. Check it out. Hey guys, I really hope you're enjoying the video so far, but I have some big and exciting news to share. I'm writing a novel with my brother set in the world before the flood. It's going to feel like a mix of fantasy and historical fiction. Much like Lord of the Rings, Warcraft, or Narnia. But here's the best part. It is based on biblical and archaeological truths. In this book, we're diving deep into the ancient world of fallen angels, the Nephilim, and the family lines of Adam, specifically Seth and Cain. You'll get to experience how they lived in cities like Nippur and Eridu, how they fell into darkness, and how they became so evil in a world filled with beasts and dragons like the Behemoth and Leviathan, described in the book of Job. If you've ever wondered what the world was like before the flood, in the antediluvian world, then this novel is going to bring it to life in a way you've never seen before. It's packed with action, spiritual battles, and deep insights into humanity's early struggles. It answers the biggest questions of humanity. Why are we here? What is the meaning of life? And where are we going when we die? And here's the exciting part. I'm giving you, all my amazing subscribers, exclusive access to the first 4 chapters of the novel for free. Just click the link in the video description, enter your name, email, and we'll send it to you. Now, if you're watching this video much later, this book might already be out. And then you can just grab it at any of our websites, at DLM Christian Lifestyle or Ruach Entertainment. Now, this book is perfect for unbelievers and even for those on the fence when it comes to their faith, because it's a gripping story that pulls you in, and before you know it, you will see how it aligns with the truth in God's Word, the Bible. Now, thank you for sticking with me. Let's get back to the message of today. All right, I hope you get that book. It's also a very good gift for anyone, believers and unbelievers as well. We bring in ancient archaeology in there to make it really come to life. And we answer many questions people might have, not just about the pre-flood and post-flood world, but also about apologetics. Now, one thing you need to understand is that this can also be symbolism. Noah and the ark is also symbolism that God saved Noah from the destruction that came on the world. There's a prophecy of another destruction in the end times where God will destroy this world and he will create a new heaven and a new earth. And he will also save some, but this time not in an ark, but only those who believed in Jesus Christ. It is those that he will save from the coming judgment. Believers will have a judgment, but it's the Bema seat judgment, where he will judge us for our heavenly rewards. If you want to understand that, watch this video here. And if you want to understand more of Bible prophecies, specifically the seed of the woman versus the seed of the serpent in Genesis 3 verse 15 and how it comes together in the end times, watch this video here. Remember to subscribe and never forget that God loves you and I love you too. Bye.